So I've been doing a series of Be a Hero presentations. And my goal is to ask and to help you be a hero. And so I define a hero. A hero is an individual who is helping. A hero is an individual who is helping. So if you are an individual who is helping, you can consider yourself to be a hero. So why is this valuable? Why do you care if you're a hero or not? Well, the first question is, how did I come up with this definition? A hero is an individual who is helping. I just realized I'm the host of this meeting, so if people are trying to come in, hold on one second. You guys can still see this okay, right?
Dave, you're helping. That means you're a hero.
Let me just stop the share for a second to make sure. Okay. All right. Everyone's in. Who's in? All right. So I came up with this definition by looking at a variety of hero definitions. So I just started with the dictionary definition. A hero is a mythological or legendary figure, often of divine descent, endowed with great strength. An illustrious warrior, a person admired for achievements and noble qualities, one who shows great courage, the principal character in a literary or dramatic work, the central figure in an event, period, or movement. So this is the dictionary definition of a hero. And it's sort of all over the map. I had to sit with it for a while and sort of try and comprehend and boil down what some of those definitions were. And so I said to myself, a hero is someone who risks or sacrifices their life to help others, such as their family, friends, fellow soldiers, a community, a people, a nation, humanity, etc. It could be a fictional hero, a fantasy hero, a divine hero, a real hero. There's some risk or sacrifice that people will say that's heroic. And we see it in the news all the time. A soldier sacrificed their life, or the firefighter who risked their life. Clearly, that's a hero. But the risk or sacrifice isn't necessarily what makes them the hero. What's underlying that is they're helping. They're helping someone. They want to help. That's why they're risking or sacrificing their life. Another definition is a hero is a main character of a story. So really a story is about a compelling story, like if you went to Hollywood, a hero helps themselves or others to overcome adversity. That's the character arc, the hero's journey. Act one is who are they? Act two is all about what are the challenges and the adversity they face for the final third act. But through that story arc, they're helping themselves or others to overcome some kind of adversity. Recently, when the Dodgers won the World Series, there was a lot of stories about like Freddie Freeman and other players, and they were described as a hero of a game. They were the heroes of that game. And I'm like, okay, well, they're not clearly risking or sacrificing their life, but we still call them a hero because they are overcoming adversity to win the game for their teammates. They're helping their teammates to win. So again, they're helping in some way. Carl Jung would say the hero's main feat is to overcome the monster of darkness. It is a long hoped for and expected triumph of consciousness over the unconscious. So again, The hero's helping themselves navigate some kind of inner fear, inner challenge. And Joseph Campbell would say a hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are there encountered, and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man. So, of course, he's describing the famous hero's journey, but the hero is helping themselves deal with the supernatural forces, and they're returning to the community to help the community. Again, underlying being a hero is helping. Maya Angelou, I think a hero is any person really intent on making this a better place for all people. She could easily say, I think it's a hero, any person who's helping to make this a better place for all people. Stan Lee, the superhero uh, from Marvel. Another definition of hero is someone who's concerned about other people's well being and who will go out of his or her way to help them, even if there is no chance of a reward. That person who helps others simply because it should or must be done and because it is the right thing to do is indeed, without a doubt, a real superhero. Martha Beck, the activist, said, tell yourself a life story in which you, the hero, are primarily a problem solver rather than a helpless victim. So the opposite of a helpless victim is a helpful hero. Jess House wrote about her friend who donated a kidney to help save her life. She is forever my hero and the type of person I aspire to become. She is saving my life, and I am forever grateful. Lorna Johnson wrote about her parents. My parents are my role models, my heroes. And one of my favorite descriptions of a hero comes from J.R.R. Tolkien. In The Hobbit, he wrote, I have found that it is the small everyday deed of ordinary folks that keep the darkness at bay, small acts of kindness and love. And he really built upon this concept in The Lord of the Rings. And it amazes me in this next quote who Tolkien thinks is the chief character in Lord of the Rings, probably the most epic fantasy ever written, filled to the brim with heroes and wizards and what Tolkien believes is a hero, the chief hero. I think the simple rustic love of Sam and his Rosie, nowhere elaborated, is absolutely essential to the study of his, the chief hero's character, and to the theme of the relation of ordinary life, breathing, eating, working, begetting, and quest, sacrifice, causes, and the longing for elves and sheer beauty. So Sam, who could be overlooked by everyone, is the chief hero according to Tolkien. And so what he's saying is what he said before, it's the small everyday acts of kindness that really make you a hero. It's just beautiful. So that's where I come up with the definition. A hero is an individual who is helping. And I looked over one night at my 7-year-old daughter while I was putting this stuff together. And just out of the blue, I asked her, honey, what is a hero? And she didn't even look up. She didn't even pause. She goes, a hero is helping. I go, what? She goes, a hero helps people. I just couldn't believe it. And then a few months later, I asked her the same question. A hero helps people. So there it is, like this divine wisdom from a child confirming that a hero is an individual who is helping. So if you are an individual who is helping, you can consider yourself to be a hero. Now, a lot of people, and we're going to talk about it, still have resistance to being called a hero. They think, oh, that's too grandiose, that's too inflated. They're stuck with, well, I don't risk my life. And again, I'm saying, yes, but if you look at all these definitions, yes, risking your life to help someone is being heroic, but it's the day-to-day acts of kindness that can be heroic. And so this is where I got very interested in the hero archetype. Like, why do we keep seeing this word all the time? Like, you can't spend a day in our culture and not be bombarded by advertisements to see hero stories, movies, television, games, books. We are constantly surrounded by hero stories. And that's where I started to really learn about the hero archetype. And it's from Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, that taught me the importance of archetypes. I can't stress enough learning about Jung's theories. He is a difficult read, so I would start with Memories, Dreams, and Reflections to understand Jung. But he started to point out the importance of archetypes. So, what is an archetype? An archetype is a character or a symbol or a pattern that reoccurs over and over again throughout history in our stories, in our fairy tales, and our myths. So the hero is probably one of the most important archetypes of the story. There's a hero of the story. And then you have uh, the mentor or guide. That's another very common archetype that appears over and over again. You have the enemy or the adversary. You have going on a journey. That's an archetype. You have friendly animals who give you clues or funny or helpful sidekicks. Those appear in stories. Those are archetypes. Going up to a mountain to receive wisdom, going into a cave or a dungeon and confronting a demon or dragon. Those are all archetypes that appear over and over again. Finding a treasure. So it's fascinating. Why do these characters and symbols keep appearing over and over again for thousands and thousands of years? Well, I learned it's psychologically healthy to consider yourself to be a hero. Your psyche wants you to be a hero. That's a pretty bold statement. Your psyche wants you to be a hero. That's because to give yourself a psychological order, your psyche wants you to be a hero, meaning the world is chaos, right? You're born, you're not sure who are you, what's going on, what do I do in the world. So you're surrounded throughout our lives. We constantly hear and see hero stories. It's around the campfire or the cave or the movie theater. You hear over and over again hero stories. And the reason for that is it's trying to teach your psyche that you're the center, you're the hero of this story. And it's happened so often throughout the centuries because a community, a collective, a culture believes hero stories are valuable. Why are you constantly being told hero stories? Well, your psyche learns and knows that if you are a hero, it increases your chances of survival and expands your loving of being alive. So, what are the stories about? They're about heroes who go through adversity, but they come out, they survive, or their life's enhanced. So, if you hear those stories constantly throughout history, your psyche naturally becomes attracted to role model heroes and hero stories. And according to Jung, it just happens naturally. It's ingrained in us at this point. We're born in our psychological development where the hero and these archetypes frame a certain structure. So, not being a hero or considering yourself to be a hero actually blocks your psychic energy and creates psychological disruption. And this is the resistance when people say, well, no, I'm not a hero. I don't deserve to be a hero. That is actually blocking psychic energy that's like, no, it's healthy for you to consider yourself to be a hero. And that's why I'm saying a hero is an individual who is helping if you're an individual who's helping, you can consider yourself to be a hero. That is how you can create just a very simple way that if you're helping, you're a hero. And just sitting with that. So why is that valuable? It's energizing and empowering to go, yeah, I'm a hero of my own story. I'm someone who's helping. It's inspiring and uplifting. It increases meaning and purpose in your life. It motivates you to be more helpful. This is very validating. And what's great is you notice there's other people helping around you, and you realize you're surrounded by heroes. So you start seeing people in a different way. And this builds connection, trust, and hope. And it helps you face adversity. I'm a hero. I can get through this. That's why we're surrounded by hero stories to teach us we're all heroes and we can face adversity. And as I try to point out, it's psychologically healthy to consider yourself to be a hero. So, in wrapping it up, a hero is an individual who's helping. If you are an individual who is helping, you can consider yourself to be a hero. And so, what is your next step? I want to ask you, I want to challenge you just to say to yourself occasionally, I am a hero. I am helping, and see what happens. Thank you. So, I would love to get your candid reaction and feedback to what's landing, what makes sense, and help you consider yourself to be a hero and work on any resistance and just try and experiment for a week of seeing yourself as a hero, as an individual who's helping, and see what effect that has on you. So jump in.
Okay, I will jump in, David. This is Jyoti again.
Hello.
Why can't we replace a hero with a brave person? Because hero kind of brings in mind a person who is like out there. He's extraordinary. A brave person can be a person who has a courage, who can go out of the way to help and do things for others. Brave kind of takes, like I said, it takes the pizzazz out of it, the action. Like you are doing this because you're a hero. No, you're doing this because you're a brave person. Why can't we say that?
Absolutely, you can say that. Someone asked me, well, can't I say I'm a good person or a brave person? And the fact that you do that wonderful helping of people is fantastic. What I'm presenting, though, is there's a psychological energy to the concept of being a hero. That's why it's an archetype. That's why we're surrounded by hero stories. So there's something in our psyche that really resonates with it's not the good person of a thousand faces or you go on the brave person's journey. It's the hero's journey. And so I would challenge you to ask yourself, why am I resistant to that word? And I empathize because we talked before, because a lot of times people associate, well, I'm not a hero. You've had to risk your life. You had to sacrifice your life. I'm just doing my thing. But I would challenge you and go, is there something inside you where you're not giving yourself permission to go, no, I am a hero. I'm really doing heroic things. Now, if it doesn't work for you and you just can't accept the word or term, I have no problem with that. But my presentation and fascination is there is an energy. When I say I'm a hero, I feel an uplift. I feel an energy, but it's very subtle. Like it's very easy to go off the rails and become very inflated. Like superheroes flying through the air, saving the world. That sort of creates that, oh, it's over the top, the word hero. But what I liked about that Tolkien quote is, I wrote this amazing epic, but my hero was like the most grounded sort of simpleton you can believe, because it's those day-to-day acts that are heroic. And I think that's very powerful. And you might be a hero to children. You might not even know that, the heroic role. So I would just challenge you to sit with that term and ask yourself, why am I resistant? Because I think what you describe is heroic. I would describe you as a hero, but that's up to you. If you're not comfortable with it, you're not comfortable with it. I'm just challenging you and presenting information that could be interesting. Sabrina.
So you said a lot of what I was going to say. Um, I think a lot of it has to do, and I'll just say it a different way. Our fear of, because of our culture's always telling us to be humble, to avoid arrogance, and we associate that word with that, right? Particularly because on a lot of movies, the guy can fly and do all these extraordinary things. So we don't see a lot of the good deeds that we do as being hero-like, right? We don't associate it with that. So then our mind goes into this imposter syndrome kind of idea, right? Like, I can't call myself that. I don't qualify. So I think sometimes we think of ourselves too small, like too little. Um, and that even just a smile for someone who's had a hard day, right? Who's working as a waiter or waitress, and you're kind to them when they serve you, that can really uplift them at that moment, right? So I think being a hero, it's made up of small good deeds to start to add up, so that wherever you show up, you help in some way that person to have a better day. Um, so we don't have to fear like it has to be something big all the time. Sometimes it can't be, but but it's changing the perspective of how we are defining the word hero, right? Being good parents, right? You're heroes to those children, making sure that you're kind to them, right? You're being a hero to these two people that are going to grow up in this world. My thinking is always, if you can't add, don't subtract. So, anyway, so that's what I thought, that it's we have a problem many times, and I'm generalizing now, obviously, um, of considering ourselves too small.
I don't know how you could have had less of a perfect response to what I've been trying to do with this talk, Sabrina. Just thank you. Thank you. Amazing. And to build on what you're saying, think of how much time and energy uh, people invest, and almost secretly for escapism, watching hero stories. So it's like we have a fascination when we're role playing in games to be a hero, and it gives us incredible pleasure. We spend a ton of money on that. Like if people were given a choice and going, "Yeah, I had a bad day," well, either going to play a game or watch a movie about heroes. Like you said, you used a great word, upliftment. So clearly, subconsciously or unconsciously, pretending we're a hero or reading about a hero is very energizing to us. And that's sort of my point. It's like, well, take it to the next level. It's like you don't have to escape or temporarily believe you're a hero for a short period of time. Why not believe you're a hero your whole life? But then the resistance is, whoa, 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 that's arrogant. And I'm like, well, change your definition of being a hero. That's why I showed you the definitions. Yes, there's the grandiose and the risking and the sacrificing, but there's the very subtle as well. And your challenge, everyone's challenge is find the sweet spot in your imagination of how that term works for you. And like I said, I don't go through the day saying, I'm a hero, I'm a hero. But I do wake up and say to myself, like as an affirmation, I'm a hero, I'm helping. And there's something really powerfully psychically aligning to do that, that just gives me sort of like direction for the day. So I want to challenge everyone to just try that. It is energizing to me. And clearly, our culture is constantly talking about heroes. So all I'm trying to do is connect the dots and go, okay, challenge yourself to consider yourself to be a hero. Gang. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce. Yes.
Yeah. So I found it's quite interesting what you said, because yeah, I think there's so many hero movies, and I see my father, actually, he's already over 80s. He still have this big dream to design this aerospace thing. I think I mentioned maybe during Cultural Revolution he didn't have a chance to do it. But I think everybody have this unfulfilled hero's journey. If they didn't do that till they're older, they still trying to use the moment. He's constantly, creating these things, writing papers. Like, I even want to go back to China, get investment, and just like living this idealist world. But I think, unfortunately, it's because of Cultural Revolution. They don't have the chance to fulfill their dream, to go to the university they want to go to because their family background. And I hope, with this generation, the world we live now, we actually have the advantage to fulfill our dream when we were alive, when we are young. And it remind me about what the Indian culture said, the God in me, the greeting the God in you. I think the God actually is the hero in us, the perfect version of us, which is the hero you're talking about. And I think we all trying to fulfill our potential, try to be the best version of ourselves. And I think that is a hero. The better we're closer to it, the more heroic we are. And it is uplifting. That's why when I joined this landmark training, everybody is so pumped up. Oh, you go to Tony Robbins lecture because people really want to do that. But unfortunately, in the daily life, there's so many things going on. You just drained. You lost that inspiration. And that's maybe why we need to watch all these movies or join the motivation lectures or whatever, remind us we still have that potential.
No, I love that. Absolutely. You bring up this great point of the word uplift, and people, I don't think it is they're going to entertainment to escape. It really clicked with me the minute you said that. I don't think it's escapism. I think it's upliftment, where they are seeing role model heroes. Remember, I was talking about how our psyches are attracted to role model heroes. That's already, and what Jung talked about, so deeply ingrained in our psyche. It's like whether you like it or not, or agree with what I'm saying or not, it's irrelevant. It's an archetype. It's part of our psychological structure. Why? It's a survival mechanism, one, where you're going to grab your psyche's learned if I don't gravitate to a parent or a warrior or whoever and learn from them to survive, they got naturally selected out long ago. So it's the psychological development where you gravitate to people who are going to give you insight and upliftment. That's already ingrained in us. And that's part of my point with the archetype to help with the resistance. When people are like, oh, I don't consider myself to be a hero. It's irrelevant. That's what I mean by it's blocking your psychic energy. Your psychic energy is like, I want to be heroic. I want to find heroes. I want to go to movies about heroes. You know what I'm saying? And the minute you say to yourself, I'm not a hero, I don't mean to, be, but the minute you say to yourself, I didn't mean to sound like I'm belittling people to do that, but it's like when I talk to my daughter to tease her, oh, I'm not a hero. Your psyche hates that. Like, wait a second, I expect you to be a hero, and now you're talking back to me. I don't feel heroic. That's what causes the disruption. Like, so you don't want to be a hero and you don't want to help your survival. You don't want to, what? As opposed to saying to your own psyche, I feel like a hero. Then you're in flow. Yeah, let's be heroic. But the challenge is our culture's definition of hero is pretty bad. It's just sort of delusional and because of all the moves, it's very inflated. And so we have to work through that to find the definition of hero. And that's why I've said just keep it really simple. If you're an individual who's helping, you're a hero. If you look at every definition of a hero, big or small, helping is the common denominator. Sabrina.
Somebody else before me.
Yeah, well, I
Oh,
mean, I
sorry,
think
sorry, I
that's a
didn't
very,
see you. Go ahead.
oh yeah, I mean, I think that's a great, it's a very good insight, a very helpful one, and good recommendation also definitely for the mind and character, for action, for the doing, because yeah, I mean, what our doing is very much connected to our being, and we are telling ourselves, oh, I'm the fool, I am the villain, which we usually do, oh, I'm so arrogant, I'm the villain.
Right.
Oh, I messed that up. I didn't see that coming. I'm such a fool. So we categorize, we give ourselves that role. We cast ourselves usually as the villain or the fool or the trickster, whatever, but we don't want to be pretentious or feel like we're being narcissistic and like, oh, I'm the hero, but if we have a healthy definition of what the hero is, then we can cast ourselves as the hero, and that's going to help our mind to live better and contribute in a better way to ourselves and others. And so I think that yeah, tapping into that energy definitely can definitely help in one's activities. And then also not just saying, well, right now that I'm doing this, I'm a hero, but I'm a hero all the time. That's my nature. I'm a hero. So yeah, it's great. And then to add to that, I started thinking also, well, why don't I try to see the hero within others as well? Maybe that can also help me not loathe, to loathe less, which is also going to help, obviously. So loathing myself and others less and loving and feeling like, yeah, they're heroes as well in their own way. And I'm also a hero and we're all heroes. Then it adds to the preciousness of life. So yeah, great insight. Thanks a lot. And we have arrived, so we're gonna meet our party and share a dinner. So thanks, David. Thanks everyone here.
Hey, you totally encapsulated what I've been trying to present. So thank you for that gift.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thanks a lot for you as well. And have a good night. Take care.
Um, just to build on that, yeah, we tell ourselves a story all throughout the day. So why not tell ourselves a hero story if we have a choice? Why? Because your psyche wants you to tell yourself a hero story. So, so given a choice of stories, why not pick the story that's going to be the most energizing to you? Sabrina.
Lindsay, it's before me.
Sorry, I don't see the hand up. Got
I
it.
know it's blending in with the background. That's so,
Yeah.
see, you're being a hero, Sabrina, right there.
I know you have that glowy, the hand. Oh, I see the hand. I thought that was part of your glowy wallpaper there.
Yeah,
All
part
right.
of the wallpaper. Hey, kids when they're young, I mean, they all have this, all of us can echo back into our childhood, and we can have this feeling of, oh my gosh, you haven't really met with the layers of life yet, and you just believe that you can go and you can change the world. You have this um hope or something as a little kid, just that you could do these things. And then life can layer upon you. And what I like about the idea of the hero as the everyday person who's helping, um, I see a couple things. And gang, when you were talking about your dad, like he still sees, the hero achievement, and he's looking at it epically, like big epic, right? But in a way, I see so much apathy sometimes in the younger kids these days. And to try to get the idea of the hero to be reachable and just in little acts to be available is a very empowering thing for people of all ages, but I think especially for young people who are coming into a really different world than what we all came into, and are maybe feeling the apathy because they don't have any hope that they can be that hero. I mean, they can't be that guy on with the flying and the everything. But if they understood that just by helping a little bit, they are a hero, and in fact, by every citizen being able to help in their little ways, to have like a country of heroes, that creates an engaged populace, which I think we really, really need right now. So,
I love that on so many levels. I want uh I want our nation to feel like it has like a heroic culture. Like we're really down on ourselves. And we're missing complete generalization. We're missing how heroic we really are. Just getting up on this spinning ball through the universe where you know that it's all going to end one day. Like that's crushing. That's crushing to a soul when you really think about it. And just to get up and motivate yourself to do anything is heroic. It's heroic. We're all terrified. We just don't talk about death and any of those things. And we're just down on each other. And we're like, we're not appreciating how heroic it is to just get through life. And so when you say, our nation and the hero, we are a heroic nation, but we have to change the story we tell to ourselves. So I love that image you created.
Okay, now it's my turn.
You've been very good at being in line. I love that. Thank you. That's very heroic. You're helping.
So I want to build upon that a little bit, and going more at the personal level, the challenges and the fears that we face, right? And being willing to face them, being willing to look at them and transform ourselves, right? Because when we change ourselves for the better, we are helping other people too, because now they don't have to deal with that person that it's disassociated from its emotions, its feelings, its fears, and all of that that we deal with. So that if, you know, if your dragon is a divorce, how are you going to deal with it in a way that is kind not only to you, but those that are involved, right? Like, what is the kindest way you can deal with that particular dragon that you're facing at that moment? But you have to start with you, right? It has to start with you and facing the fear and just looking at it and being okay with it and walking through it. And that's definitely being a hero, because many times we do everything to avoid it. But when we're able to look at it and some sort of transformation happens, now everybody around you that is affected by what the behavior would have been otherwise ends up better off, right? So that's a form of being a hero. And in fact, if we could all do that in some way, I think humanity, I mean, we would all become like permanent heroes, right? Because we had looked our dragons, right? That tend to get too big within us and take over.
To build on what you said, I think 95% of heroism is being an internal hero. It's easy for people on some level to help family member, or friend, or even other people or other species. They dread going inside themselves and having to change an aspect of themselves. That's the ultimate terror, like Carl Jung was talking about. And Carl Jung said people will do the most absurd thing to avoid that. And look at our culture. We medicate ourselves. We surround ourselves by entertainment. We're hyper materialistic. I mean, we'll do anything to avoid the truly heroic, courageous act of going, maybe I need to change. Maybe my whole worldview has been wrong. But then again, to build what you said, those people who do that become role models for other people. So it's not selfish to be a hero who's helping yourself. It's just the opposite. Not only are you helping yourself, but you're serving as a role model for others. And quite honestly, our entire culture, most of it, needs to go on that inner journey. Like we are Jung, why I'm fascinated with Jung is, he calls it like what the midlife crisis is. It's not exactly midlife, but he goes, at some point in your life, you switch from like the external journey to the internal journey. And that's what the rituals have been about. That's what, a lot of religions were talking about, to go to the inward, to find, the divine within. And if you don't do that, if you aren't a hero who does that, Jung's like, you will be shaken apart. You will have horrible psychological disruption. And so what do people do? They medicate themselves. They take drugs, pick your escapism. And so I think we're getting to the point as a culture where financial, material things are not the answer. It's a spiritual, soulful thing. It's not either or, but I like what you said. We all need to go on that inner journey to be like, all permanent heroes. So that is very heroic and scary. And most people won't do it, which I think is tragic. I think it's tragic. So you just sail through life and then you disappear and you haven't really discovered who you really are. Wow.
Yeah, we act and react from out of fear, right? Because whatever it is that gets triggered within us, that's the lens that we're using to view everything. So unless we can slay that inner dragon, right? We can't change that lens. That lens will always be there. So everything will we'll look at everything through that. So yeah, we need to do that. And perhaps we are being forced in some way to do that, right? Because either that or, to the abyss. So maybe life is forcing us to go within because we can't keep running away, right? There's nowhere to run away to but inside.
Absolutely. I think in reality, when the disruption happens, and it will happen, like there will be a disruption. If you don't understand, like what Jung was talking about and the archetypes and the inner journey, our reaction to disruption is to immediately shut it down. Immediately. Immediately. Instead of going, what is causing the disruption? And what happens is it's like a kettle. It just builds and builds and builds, and then it explodes. And then you end up in a recovery program or 12 step, or you're forced to change. But then what happens is a lot of people don't get past that. Again, it's the hero's journey. There's very few who make it through. And that takes a lot of heroic work. But I like what you said. There's no escape from it. And so it's just better to take the hero's journey and have faith. It's very scary, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Yoti. And I want to hear from other people. Be heroic. Come on, challenge yourself. This is my last talk for a long time. So now's your chance to let's have some fun. Yoti.
Hello again. So getting up in the morning and not calling yourself a hero is not a disruption of your energy. I'm going to give you a hard time, David, because I'm one of the ones who does not like the word hero. I think it has a negative connotation. It draws a lot of attention. Although all my life, I told you before everyone got in here, I've done all heroic things in literal sense. But it draws a lot of attention to me if I say I'm a hero. And that will disrupt my energy. And that will send me to medication, not meditation, but medication. I think you can have a flow in your life if you say you get up in the morning and you say, hey, I'm an action-oriented person. Let's see what's going to come in my path today. I'm going to deal with it. I'm strong. So there's nothing wrong in that. But giving yourself accolades that I'm a hero, I don't have fears, and I'm going to resist this, and I'm not going to resist that. To me, it's really a bull. I mean, why you have to call yourself a hero? What for? When you
So
are,
I,
yeah,
I have a question for you. So
yeah,
you've been to this talk before,
yeah.
right? You've brought this up a few times. So why do you keep coming back to this talk?
Because I'm getting a lot of enjoyment out of this because I want to see in what direction, why are you going in this direction? And why am I going in the other direction? That's why I keep coming here.
Right. So what
I want to learn from you guys who are all these heroes here. I mean, what is it? Yeah, right. Because why is it that I'm fearless without calling myself a hero? And you're saying, face your fears. I have been facing, that's all. I have faced the music all my life. And I've done the right things. But I don't want to call myself hero. I don't want any attention to myself. And there's nothing wrong in that. That will not get your adrenaline flowing because you're getting attention to yourself. No, that's not how it goes. And I'm a spiritual being. I get up in the morning and I'm with the Brahma, with the creator. And I get my spiritual energy from there. But I'm not a hero. I will say that. I'm not a hero. I don't want to be a hero.
So I
I,
just have two questions. So when you say bring attention to myself,
yeah,
who is giving you the attention?
people that who think that I'm a hero.
I don't understand what that means. Like if you just wake up and quietly say to yourself, I'm a hero, I'm helping, how does that attract attention?
I'm giving attention to myself.
Okay.
Why am I giving that kind of attention to myself that I'm a hero? I'm helping myself, others. I will help. I'm always helping. I'm a helpful being. But why I have to call myself a hero? I'm a strong person. I'm an action-oriented person. I go outside the house, I walk my dog, I see people, I talk to them, I smile at them. I make those people smile who don't like to smile. I say hello to them, to those people who look away, and then they say, hello, how are you this afternoon? It's a beautiful day. And they are forced to talk to me. I think I'm an action-oriented person. I brought some change in this person. And many times I've heard them saying, oh, thank you for talking to me. So, but why am I here then? W-
Well, I'm not, like I said in the beginning, I'm not telling you what to do. Whether you consider yourself a hero or not, that's up to you.
No, but we are having a discussion.
No, but I'm saying that I'm just correcting you. I'm not telling you that you need to consider yourself to be a hero. I'm pointing out that there's many definitions of a hero, and I'm pointing out that psychologically your psyche resonates with you considering yourself to be a hero. And so that's just information. And if you choose to say, I don't need that, I respect that. But I will challenge you because that's why you're here and I like you and I think you're very sharp. It's like, well, ask yourself, if I said to you, Yoti, for 1 week, would you be open for just a week to consider yourself to be a hero and see what effect that has on you? Would you be open to that experiment for just 1 week?
David, I did do that. When I
Okay.
didn't come back to your sessions, I did do that.
And so what did you decide?
I decided that it's a nice feeling to see yourself as a hero. However, it's okay if you don't want to be a hero. You don't want to be called a hero. You're a hero, but you don't want to be called a hero. That's okay too.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. That's okay too. I'm not challenging you. I'm here. Why did I come back here? Because I like to discuss this issue. I like this topic. And I just want to see why you are so stuck on it. Why are you on it and why you don't want to change? You're asking me why you don't get up in the morning and say to yourself, I'm a good being, I'm a good human being. I have dealt my life very successfully and I've helped people and I'm going to continue to do that. Why call
Well,
yourself a hero?
well, I have no interest in changing. I've worked really hard to align myself with something I believe strongly in, which is my psyche wants me to be a hero, and I've defined it in a way where I don't feel it's inflated, but I don't want to devalue myself. I hear a lot because you want to be candid with me. I hear a lot of resistance of it's like, why won't you give yourself permission to feel like a hero? Like that's what I feel a lot of resistance to that. And I'm just curious why.
Okay, I mean, you know why? Because I said this whole thing about hero. I didn't grow up like this. I come from India. I grew up very humbly, but that does not mean it said be fearful. It says stay humble, but don't have fear, don't have resistance. Just keep moving. For some reason, hero was given, the impression was given to me as I was getting older, that you call yourself a hero, then you are not going to do what a hero will be doing because you are so full of it. You're full of heart streams now. You are getting your head blown because I'm a hero. I can do almost anything. Never get to that stage of life when you say, okay, I can do anything I want. No, you can't. You have to work for it. You have to work hard sometimes. Sometimes it comes easily. But I'm here. Don't tell me to go away from here because I want to learn from you guys why you think the hero is the only word that can energize you. That's why I'm here. And
All right.
I'm open. I'm open. I have tried to call myself hero. It didn't work for me.
Well, no one's telling you not to be here, but let's
Okay.
hear from some other people.
That's right. That's right. But I made my point. That's all.
I don't know if Connie or Lindsay first. Lindsay, let's do Connie or
Okay, it's Connie. Yes. Yeah. Jody, I actually understand. I really resonate with Jody on the word hero, as I mentioned David before when I came. But then with your definition broader, but I still resist it. I will be honest, using the word hero, because John F. Kennedy was a hero when he, PT, whatever, 109, whatever that fought, things like that are heroes. I don't watch any action movies. I never have liked them, with Superman. And so I don't ever think of those. That never comes to mind when I think of heroes. But what I have used from David, I've taken the word, I kind of done what Jody said. I've taken the word hero out. And I'm sort of, to me, it's love. It's coming from love, rather than coming from fear or hate. So looking at situations that I'm in all the time, and I'm observing myself in relationships, that things that would annoy me, and I'm saying, why is that annoying me? That's something about me that I don't like in myself. I'm thinking that shadow thing that I really wish you'd do some discussions sometime on how, like this hero's journey. So I am on it. I'm very introspective. I'm constantly looking at, I want to be a better person. I want to come from love. I want to understand myself. And so how does one, I hope I'm not taking off topic. How does one do the introspection work? I think I've done a lot of reading. I'm an insatiable reader. I'm always been an observer, very intuitive. So I can really look at myself. It isn't hard for me. I mean, we keep saying that's the hardest thing for people to do. Why is it not? Why do I think it's not hard for me? I guess I'm a disconnect there. So that's kind of my questions or whatever. Sorry, David.
No. I get you and I appreciate you, Connie. Look, to me, the most important thing is the helping. It's being an individual who's helping. And so what you and Yoti are saying is, yeah, we agree. You're both very helpful people. I love that. Helping is really important. It's sort of what Lindsay was talking about, seeing ourselves as a nation of sort of helpers. We're all helping. I'm just adding an extra layer to it because the term hero comes up over and over again. And I'm trying to ask the question and explore why. So helping, great, there's that level, but I'm taking it down to the deeper psychological level of this hero archetype. And you're free to use that if it helps you psychologically or help more, or you're free not to use it. I'm just presenting the information where me it is helpful because I feel like that is an archetype. I understand what Jung was saying. There's an energy to it. And I said I found a definition that's sort of reasonable. It's not, it's not too inflated. It's so that works for me, and that's my passion of just sharing this information. But that's it. That's where I let it go, but I'm not pushing it on it. It's okay to ask and challenge, but I'm not saying you're wrong or right. I'm just presenting that. So I have Lindsay and Aiden. Lindsay.
Yeah, I was really fascinated, Jyoti, by you bringing up that, not fascinated because I understand it, that resistance, like you don't want to bring the attention to yourself. And just my background is that I work with a lot of young kids and young people in my work with Nature's Theater. And one of the things that Dave's hitting on here that I think is meaningful, for our youth and even culturally, is that there is an energy. It's an energy that I see come up in groups of youth around and not every one of those kids is like tapped into it, but there's a lot of kids that tap in at the young age to that energy of being a little bit heroic on whatever the experience that I'm taking them out on. And I say that because and so that leads me to another thing. So there's like this inner kind of thing that exists in a lot of kids where they'd like to be the hero. They like that moment of feeling that, right? So there's something maybe deeply embedded in the culture of in our culture, just to tap into that feeling for a moment or for a lifetime or for whatever it be. But I also noticed that, and that brings me to another point, which is a lot of times I also train teens, and I really look at mentorship. And so sometimes when you're willing to own, that, I'm going to show you, I'm going to be a hero right now. And you're sort of like, maybe being the mentor for what that is. And so it's taking it with that discomfort, but in some ways it's removing a glass ceiling that says I can only be this or I can only be that, and it's opening it up to something bigger where you can allow just whatever energy needs to flow. And in doing that, you also give permission to the people that you're working with to go ahead and let their spirit soar and be whatever it is. And I guess that's why the word hero, yeah, I agree, it has some negative connotations because of just the bloatedness of it sometimes. But in little ways, it's actually a very magical word. And it's a very magical word, I would say, especially in our culture for youth, and it can be a very motivating, idea. So that's all I was going to say.
Awesome. Aiden.
Sorry, I'm listening but moving about. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, David.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I'm glad I came for the last Zero talk, and it's I'm finding the discussion to be rich as well. And you know, the thoughts that, or the feedback and the thoughts that are arising for me is one piece that perhaps so much of this stuff is about what works for us in an effective way. You know, the practical dimension, the like your experience, David, of identifying or seeking or banding around this conception of the hero and the association with helping and the practical bearing that it has on your energy or your motivation or your direction, and that there's a sort of practicality to that, and that it's interesting in the discussion, even the word itself, right? It's like for some people it leans that direction, and for others it is a deterrent, even the word itself. Whereas maybe another word would be a very motivating one, like somebody mentioned love, or I think of compassion. Um, I think of one of Jung's quotes. Where he talks about therapy specifically, but he's basically saying one of the big mistakes that I think he used the word mistake, which is a harsh word, but maybe a sidestep or a missing of the mark is um, the fusion of our subjective experience with objective reality, right? So if something is subjectively effective or meaningful, um, then that leading to the conclusion or stance, oh, this is objectively the case. And that would probably take a very sharp sword to not fall into, because there could be resistance in some cases. And in some cases, it could be just that it's more subjectively valuable than objectively. I don't know in this particular case. But another thing that's coming up for me is the cultural differences, just because I'm hearing it in the conversation, and it leads to what my question was going to be. So maybe I'll use this as a pivot into the question anyways, but it does seem to me that the idea of a hero has a archetypal dimension, and it has a cultural dimension, and it has a personal dimension. But even if we stick with like cultural/religious versus the sort of personal, there are these sort of heroic energies that we seem to they're like the mythologems, right? The mythologem of the hero that shows up in fairy tales and in mythology and in cultural artifacts. But it seems there's this sort of the heroic archetypal that's beyond the human. It's this sort of archetypal energies. And then there's the cultural figures that become heroes, or the personal livers of what that the embodiment of that archetypal energy. And I do wonder how much culture plays a role in that, because like Jody was speaking about not wanting to identify with the hero. You could look at that on a personal level, like, well, what happened not to want to draw attention to oneself? That would be like a personal inquiry. But it also could have very cultural implications, because in many cases, the energy of the heroic maintains its position in the transpersonal, in the non-human, and the spiritual, whether it's her connection with the gods that she connects with in the mornings, whether it's Christ consciousness, whether it's Buddha consciousness, whether it's some kind of prayer or practice, where one is tapping into the mana of some sort of transpersonal energy. In some cases, it's like it seems that the transpersonal is much more emphasized than the individual, like encapsulation of such energies. Whereas I do think culturally, certainly in the United States, we really do elevate ourselves as individuals and consider ourselves to be the encapsulation of what a hero is, distinct from the carriers of such energy or being plugged into such energy or so that's a different position. But I wonder, I'm putting this on the table now for discussion, or to hear your response, David, of what is that distinction in this context or in this talk of the heroic as a transpersonal, as a non-human energy, um, where it becomes spiritual and spiritual beyond transpersonal. versus an individual that is heroic, who is identified as a hero or is taking it on as an individual level, as an identity. Is there a distinction there, or what does that look like from this position?
Yeah, so awesome as usual, Aiden. Um, so a couple of reactions. Everyone can jump in as well. Really enjoying this conversation. The first thing you bring up is the cultural, which was interesting about Joseph Campbell, where he sort of traveled the world and found all the different kinds of hero stories and hero myths, and Jung, using a Jungian framework, said, oh, you can see this basic pattern in every culture. However, every culture he's a Western American finding this pattern. And I think you bring up a good point. In other cultures, do they have that same template? He sort of fit in the mythologies to fit into his Western template, but would other cultures have a different kind of template? So I think that's very interesting to sit with. Like, that Joseph Campbell framework may or may not translate in every culture, and to be respectful of that. And then when I'm talking about a hero going on that inner journey, and what Jung was talking about is that's an inner journey to discover the more transpersonal, the anima, the animus, the spirit, the soul, the spirit, the soul, the divine within. So just being a hero, I can understand where there's resistance, like, oh, you're very inflated. But the hero is really going on the journey to find something greater than themselves, which is a whole different talk. So I just wanted to clarify that it was when Jung looked at Nietzsche didn't really understand a lot of the inner world, and so he came up with the Superman, right? And it was like the hero, the ego is all there is. And look at our culture. Literally, we have characters called Superman and flying through the air. They're sort of these heroic egos that are super inflated and not connected to the inner. So that's another great point you bring in, Aiden. It's being a hero for the hero's sake is not the end of the journey. It's more of an instrument to connect with the greater forces. And that might explain some of the resistance of, you know, is the hero greater than, these other energies and beings and deities? No. In fact, the hero's journey is about discovering them, serving them, helping them. So I want to clarify that as well. So thank you, Aiden, for helping me sort of expand, what I mean by being a hero. Marco.
Yeah, for me, I think it makes me, it's sort of like a pat on the back. Um, and it's not like I'm doing it for, you know, I'm not being a hero for like, you know, for like applause, for to have the admiration of others or anything like that. It's sort of like, for me, I'm doing it for myself. It's like for my own self, for my own, it's like it's I'm doing something for me. It like I'm patting myself on the back. It's not like you know, I'm putting on this showy display for like a, like a crowd of people or for admiration. Yeah, so it's sort of, um, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, again, what I'm trying to present, whether I like it or not, whether I agree with it or not, there's a hero archetype that exists. It's existed for a long time. So I just want to understand what it is, basically. And then I have a decision to make. Oh, I don't believe that. That's not me. But through experimentation, I have found, again, that's why I really, and it's usually people's favorite quote in this talk, the Tolkien quote of the daily acts of kindness, of me asking my daughter, who's a hero is helping people. Because to Lindsay's point, to my young daughter, her parents are heroes for her. And so I'm comfortable now with that term. The energy makes me smile. What's wrong with being a hero in the great story of your life? That makes me happy. And not only does it make me happy, my psyche rewards me for that. But that's me. If that doesn't work for anyone else, I'm fine with that. But I feel an obligation when you go on the hero's journey and you return with some knowledge to just say, if you look at hero definitions, they all involve helping. If you look at the hero archetype, your psyche resonates with that. That I believe, that I will defend. That's facts. And what people decide to do with that, it's up to them. Sabrina.
I just wanted to make 2 quick points. The first one is that when you take on that word from the humble side, you realize that it's the fact that you see your inequities, right? That you're able to see them, and because you see them, you work on them. Or that you have compassion for others because you've been there and you know what it's like to be in that position, right? So really it's I don't want to say your weaker side, but your side that has learned how difficult life can be, that wants to reach out and help others. That's the side that comes out. So I think what happens with the word is that in our minds, psychologically, we've been taught to add all these connotations to it, right? Because if you say we are potatoes, right? There's no connotations there. You're not going to get a reaction within yourself. So I think we also need to look at that, like, why am I like so uncomfortable with it? And it's fine, right? You don't have to call yourself that. You don't ever have to use it. If you want to call yourself something else or not call yourself anything, that's on you. Um so but I think it's important sometimes when we feel so much discomfort with something to look at ourselves and say, why am I so uncomfortable with this? Right? What in me bothers me, right? As opposed to saying, I don't really care for the word. Fine. He wants to use it. I'm okay with it too, right? Like you're neutral about it because it doesn't stir anything within you. And yeah, it could be culture. And sometimes since you're taught, you don't, if you do things for others, you don't talk about it, you don't say it, you don't brag about it, that sort of thing, right? And that also gets instilled many times on people, and not that that's something you want to be doing, because now it's more out of your ego that you're doing these deeds in order for you to go talking about them. but for me, at least for me, I always self-examine when something bothers me, right? When somebody uses a word or says something that perhaps I shouldn't care so much, but I find that it bothers me, then it's like, okay, what in me has that woken up that makes me react in such a harsh way?
Sorry, you choked me up. It was so beautiful.
Sorry. You okay?
Yeah, it was so beautiful. I really like that. I've been doing a lot of that with validation. I know my voice sounds different now. Like I found myself getting upset and asking myself, well, why do I need this other person's validation? Like, why do I care? I know I disagree with them or they don't understand me, but it upsets me. So I've been really I ask myself the question, well, why do you need their validation? And it has a very calming effect because I go, it's a habit, it's a weakness. So I love what you're saying. It's like, why does the term hero bother me? And sit with that. And I think a lot of it ties into, we've had another talk. It's about deserving. A lot of people feel like, well, I don't deserve to be a hero. And then it ties into, if you go deeper, I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to be joyous. It's a wound. And I'm not saying anyone here has a wound. I'm just saying for me, and building off what you're saying, Sabrina, is I have a lot of issues with deserving. Like, I don't deserve to be happy. And so I associate hero with that. It's like, I don't deserve to be a good person. So I think it's asking yourself, why don't I deserve to consider and I'm not saying a hero all the time, just occasionally, like, to flatly reject the word, why? And so I love what you say because and Jung would say that as well. I thank people now who cause disruption in me because it points out what I need to work on. And if that disruption didn't happen, I could just sail through life with the same habits. So I'm really learning. Yeah, it's annoying on one level, but then you sit with that. Well, why is it annoying? And that's very liberating. And I think what you're bringing up is the resistance I will feel when I go, you're a hero. You are here. Like when I hear Connie and Yodi or everyone talk, to me, you are heroes. You might not like that, or it doesn't matter. It's me. I just you being here, taking the time to have this discussion, taking this time to challenge and debate and wanting to help each other understand. I, I have a screen full of heroes. And you know what? For me, that enhances my life because I look at people now and I notice them now that if they're helping, they're heroes. So instead of being surrounded by a bunch of, oh, everyone's greedy, or we all hate each other, or we're all politically psycho right now. It's so easy to fall in that trap. I don't look at the world like that anymore. I go, we're all heroic. Okay. It doesn't mean that hero cut me off on the freeway and I hate you, but just to have the definition of people are helping and I'm surrounded by heroes makes my life unbelievably more joyous. Yoti.
I have to say this, David, I'm very impressed with you. You had a quick transformation. From one moment you were saying, why are you here? And the second moment you are saying, you started to do some introspection, that why did I irk you so much? I didn't leave. I'm here for a discussion. It's a healthy discussion. And you felt intimidated, but then quickly you looked into yourself and said, why? Why am I doing this? It's opening my horizon. I'm looking at it now from why is it bothering me? So I'm really impressed with you. Thank you for doing that quick transformation. Thank you.
Well, thank you. There's a little bit of projection happening, but okay. But I'll take it. Yeah, I personally, it's not I'm giving you pushback, Yodi. It's not that I feel irked. I love your energy. I think you are a hero to me for doing this. I'm completely cool with how you classify yourself, but I can just tell by the way you express yourself and your passion, and when you were talking about helping your family members, it's just joyous for me to interact with someone like you. That's a gift, and I appreciate that. We're gonna get a wrap up soon. This will be my last talk for a while. So anyone else want to say anything? I believe through Meetup, you can leave messages for me. So when I start to do future talks, I can reach out to you. So I think through the Meetup messaging, you can leave a message. But every time I do this, it just makes me smile, especially now. Our culture is really interesting, to say the least. And so this is, for me, very grounding and centering and hopeful. Connie.
Yes, David, I want to thank you. And I definitely want to know when you're speaking again. So I will say what I've learned from this is the broad use of the word hero, because I had a very narrow, you know, thought of what a hero was. I consider myself brave. Um, I had a very difficult childhood. I raised myself. I went to school. I actually am quite remarkable. I mean, now see, I don't say that to people. People don't even know, my closest friends don't know my life, but I do. And so, I guess I just don't think in terms of being a hero, but I do now. And so I hope that that's come across about how much you've given me and just listening to you and other people so thank you.
My pleasure. There will be other talks. There's more on the adventure, but I think, Connie, that comment is just sort of perfect closure for me, and it touched me very deeply. So, I'm just going to end this way. I'm going to ask you, if you're an individual who's helping, to consider yourself to be a hero, and just sit with that. And hopefully it creates this psychological alignment, and hopefully that expands your loving of being alive and enhances your life. And so thanks for meeting, and we'll meet up soon.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Good night.
That was
Thank
very
you.
good.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night to everyone.
Good night, Connie.